We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it.
No. Sir.
Son of a bitch. No means no, damn it. Oh, fuck that thing. Ah! Yeah. It's like a sequence of terrible decisions after terrible decisions. It's all just still the idea of counterattacking still feels really like I'm still not 100% sure on exactly the pathways I want to go down yet. In terms of like general rule of defending, like I understand either I gotta be out or completely in. And I feel okay there. It's like the same armbar defense stuff, right? Like either you gotta get your elbow out or you gotta go so deep in you can move. So like being there doesn't feel terrible. I don't feel panicky, but it feels like my routes that I want to go from once I'm kind of relatively safe, you know what I mean? What are the pathways I want to follow? Like that's still kind of iffy. So I just find myself like if I see a foot, I'm like just start peeling and then see what he does, and maybe an entanglement occurs where it kind of looks familiar. Like oh yeah, it's like a double outside. Or I feel like there's times when I'm like I feel like I should be in backside 50, backside 50-50, and I'm like. I don't know what that looks like. What's on your end? What do you feel like is the big issues? Not that you're probably thinking about it. Well, what do you look for? What are you seeing?
With every leg attack, there's always a vulnerability.
Yeah.
Whether it's the like getting your legs vulnerable or your back vulnerable.
Yeah.
Renee pointed this out the other day. Is like I know it's like you do this a lot. Like you play. It's like you play with fire.
Yeah.
It's like you will let them get leg entanglements because you feel very confident in being able to spin or identifying where you could roll or and immediately freeing the knee line. So when somebody starts attacking my legs, my immediate thought is I need to get my knee past their knee line.
Yeah.
Once I'm there, what are my options? If the leg is bent, there's a leg entry there.
Yes. Their legs.
Yeah, their legs.
Then that means you have hooks you can more or less manipulate. Yeah.
Or there's a toe hold there.
Yeah.
Because the toe hold is like if you lock a toe hold like that, probably not going to finish it.
Yeah.
Lock a toe hold like that, probably going to finish it.
Yeah,
and anytime you roll with somebody like gator roll, legs are more often than not are bent. So if they have my leg, it gives me access to their leg. My leg is straight, their leg is bent in the gator roll.
Yeah.
So I'll snatch up a toe hold from there.
Yeah.
And if anything, if they kick out, well, they're no longer thinking about my legs. And then that'll allow me my own leg entry because now their leg is straight.
Yeah.
And there's a leg entry right there. And my legs are on this side of their hips.
Yeah.
So I just need to kind of pummel my feet in, and then there's a leg entry there.
Yeah.
So like that's my immediate thought. When someone starts attacking my legs, is my knee line free?
Yeah.
My knee line is not free, I need to get my knee line free. After my knee line is free, then I start thinking, what are my options from there?
So do you ever counterfire from inside the line too? Like if you because again there's times when let's say I'm in a position and trying to get out feels more dangerous. You know how you have to kind of go through the danger zone, right?
Yeah.
When your knee comes out, and there's times when it feels like I'm just gonna punch it in deeper, and at least I have some wiggle. What if you punch it in deeper? Is your next step still thinking okay, now that I'm safe, how do I get my knee out of the line first? Or do you think can I attack from this super deep position?
The only problem with the super deep position is that while the ankle might be free, and then obviously the hip is free from hip control.
Yeah.
Now that the knee is so deep,
super inside.
It's super inside. That allows me for reaps.
Yeah.
And then access to outside ashi, and depending on how we're situated, this could also mean access to backside 50-50.
Okay.
So the only time I would go so deep is if I could go so deep and plant my bottom of my foot on the ground.
Yeah.
In the process of standing up.
Where their weight does not have to hang. They have to use muscle just to stay connected.
Yeah.
Okay. 50-50 escape or something.
What's that?
Like when you're escaping from 50-50.
Yeah. And even then, I would be very, aware that once even though as we're fighting 50-50, I start standing up and there's no threat here, the legs are still controlling my hip.
Yeah.
So I need to address that, because if I don't address that, then they'll go into this weird X-guard position, and now they're kicking their base out.
Base is all stretched.
Yeah, and now this leg is light, and they're just swimming around, and then now my leg is super deep because it's right here. Their legs are right here. Their knees are probably right here. I mean, there's all sorts of 50-50 reap entries from there.
Yeah. Because so for me, one of the reasons, and I actually like that because that gives me an idea. Because I do like to go deeper into an attack in order to get out sometimes. But you're absolutely right. I probably need to, if I go deep, actually start putting my weight on it.
Yeah.
Because I put myself really deep inside the submission, and then I'll like try to play with the feet. Meanwhile, my foot's so light, they just like you attack back and forth a couple of times, and I was like, damn it! Like I'm deep inside of this outside. I'm like, okay, I can defend that, but then it goes to this. I'm like, I gotta defend this.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to actually plant my foot down. And the reason I think that's a good idea is because like as a smaller person, like all the defensive, like even just peeling the feet apart. That shit's hard if I go against, especially people that do like leg locks regularly. Like just their ability to, just like if I do arm bars, I know I feel good about my cinch.
Yeah.
But if somebody does like a leg lock to me and they cinch on my leg, I'm like, if I try to unpeel it, even though I'm doing it, I don't want to say correctly because you can always get better. But generally following the right idea, it still is like such a pain just to get out. But if I can get deep, peel, and then come back down, maybe I gotta think about that.
The only time
If I go in, because I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I understand. Like, I know that getting the knee line out is like, that's like the first thing I learned back in the day. It's like, don't have heel exposure. Like, I think I watched Eddie Cummings do it, where he would like ballerina toe and just like heel slip, and then just straight like rigid leg and just punch out. And I was like, okay, like there's truth to that for sure.
depending on how late stage the defense is for heel hooks, like especially from cross ashi, like.
I'm gonna turn this way so the camera can see what's awesome.
Okay, so if it's sort of late, if it's late stage, like I got a small window, right? You got to bite on the heel. You're in cross ashi. You're back heeling hard. Like, the only time I would think about going deep is in this position, right? And I'm going in deep. It's late stage defense, and then it's almost like a bolo at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because if we kind of play around with this shape. Like, you own this leg, but one detail will have me own your leg.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting here,
Okay.
you know, that's
You
not
just bypass that knee altogether.
Yeah,
So this is
that's-
the wedge that's stopping it, right?
Yeah.
Say that again?